Bitcoin seeing a nice move to the upside, sitting on a critical level, determining if we're going to see continuation up, nice pump in the crypto market, or if this is just a little bit of a bull trap and we're about to look for bigger moves to the downside. We've got to look at the data. We got to look at the charts. We got great news coming out of Powell yesterday with the FOMC meeting. But what does it really mean? What's going on with the altcoins and the Digital Asset Summit with Trump speaking today, just a few minutes ago? We're going to talk about that all and more here in just a moment. So everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. If you're watching on Twitter or on YouTube, make sure you head over to x.com/Kelly Kellum and hit that retweet, or at Academy BitLab. We are live right now. We got the friends, we got the fam. Let's get this out. Let's get this reposted. Let's get active in the live chat. Roll call right now if you are here, if you are alive, if your fingers work, engage with this stream. Let us know what you're thinking. Are you bullish or bearish between now and April 2nd when those tariffs are set to go live? Let's get into it. Let's talk about all this and more. Let's go. What's up, friends? What's up, fam? How you doing? Looking at the markets as today, every day feels like it's going to be the day that's going to be that pump factor, whether it was yesterday with Jerome Powell and the Fed, or today with, this speech that he had pre-recorded for the Digital Asset Summit in New York. It all keeps seeming like it's not really mattering. We look at the price action, and just looking at this moment, like the price structure here, this feels more bearish than bullish, but our bullish hopium is telling us no, but it's got to break to the upside. But what levels are we looking at? We're looking at these levels right here. Zooming in, we got this trend line from this point, and this point, and this point, which we have broken through, and we're just looking like we're trying to hang on to. But we also have this rising level of resistance just above that we did reject on, right well within this blue box that we've had drawn for some many weeks, probably months at this point. And we're sitting right in this critical zone. This, I mean, we can see this right in here. All the price action is right in the intermediary of all of these levels that we're paying attention to. But is this level more important right here? This one that, not exactly where I do that, but this line that we're seeing right here, is this where we're really looking for the price action to get up into in this zone, this 89 to 91,000 level? Because if we come over here, I think I delete, oh no, I have it right here. Let me move this over. Looking at this right here, let's refresh this. This is from yesterday, I believe. Yeah. Oh, hold on. That's a 12-hour. Let's get back into what we want to see. 3-day chart. We can see that we've got this liquidity here in this $86,000 to $87,000 range, and then also right above us. But let's zoom out a little bit more. Let's look at the 1 week, and we see, yeah, I mean, let's actually go a little bit. Let's go to the 1 month. That's actually what I was trying to look at. Look at all this liquidity above us. We've got a little pocket below us, basically between 78 to 81,000. Are we going to need to come down and clear that before we move to the upside, or is the percolating bullishness in the market going to buoy us? Let's jump in and look at what we're paying attention to today. We had Crypto Crow on yesterday. We had to do a little bit of a shorter stream, so we got some charts that we got to cover today. We will be looking at some TA, Solana, XRP, Ethereum. What's going on here? Look, Chainlink. I mean, all these are sitting in structures that want to be bullish, but they're also could have some signs of breaking down. ONDO, big news on ONDO might be percolating right now. So let's keep our eyes on that. I'm going to show you what that is here in a few minutes. Aerodrome still, I mean, it's kind of looking like it's trying to form a base. We got near protocol, kind of bullish posture, but really when you zoom out on this on the 8 hour, it's just a downtrend here with the stair-stepping motion that we're seeing. We're going to be looking at these coins and some other things as well. So let's look at what the markets are looking like right now. On the weekly, we are seeing some bullishness. Pi is getting a bit of a correction, but this is kind of, had that big pump up. So it kind of makes sense that it's having a bit of a pullback, but we're seeing green on the weekly. On the daily, seeing a kind of mixed bag, but mostly red here. Had some big green bubbles, but mostly red on the daily. On the hourly, we're getting a little bit of a sell-off, I think, because of that hope speculation, what was happening in the market regarding sort of positive speculation about some of the rumors that were swirling about Trump's talking today at the Digital Asset Summit. But we're sitting here, look, firmly above 2.7 trillion now. Remember, only a couple days ago, it was kind of butting its head up against that. So it's sitting right now at 2.79 trillion. When are we going to get that move? But let's look at what we want to see in the markets. This is that discussion today, Digital Asset Summit. It was pre-recorded, and it was a bit of a nothing burger on the one regard, but we have to remember how bullish it is to have the president doing videos and talking points shared at these digital asset summits. Now, the hope was, there's a lot of rumors. Every time he's going to speak, everybody says this is when he's going to talk about the no capital gains on crypto, and it's just not happening. I think that's going to be something more about an act of Congress, basically a legislative bill or something. If that were to come out, I think we can kind of put that to rest. Now, if he mentions it, which he's only mentioned leading up to his inauguration, I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think he's mentioned it since. We need to stop being so hopeful that we're going to have this grand blah, blah, blah. He's going to completely change the tax protocol for crypto just from, him talking at a conference. Now, could it happen? Sure. We've seen crazier things, but the fact that we're seeing the sitting president speaking again, just as many times as he says this goes out in the general populace. This goes out beyond the crypto bubble about America being the undisputed Bitcoin superpower and crypto capital of the world. In a recorded address to the crowd there at the Blockwork Digital Asset Summit, he did also mention that he's calling on Congress to to quickly pass the stablecoin legislation and criticize banking discrimination, that Operation Choke Point 2.0. In fact, I also saw some data points yesterday regarding Signature Bank about how that was shut down, basically illegally, weaponizing law in a basically, I would argue, illegal way about how they went through and basically just crushed these banks that had basically the best crypto-facing banking protocols out there. In fact, in some ways, stealing Signet, which is what they were using to basically transact back and forth between fiat and crypto. So that's interesting. GD, $1.99 super chat. Thank you for the super chat. It says, please review Bone-Fi proof of work on ICP. I've never heard of it. But we can pull that up. I'll go ahead and bookmark that so make sure that we can see it. I'm going to, why is that? Boom. There we go. Getting this, putting a star next to it so I can make sure to look at that. But there's plenty of things we got to talk about today. In fact, remember those whales, those massive, massive short positions and long positions, multi-hundred million, the 40x positions on Hyperliquid. Everybody's speculating who it was. Well, Zach XBT himself did an investigation into it, looking through all of it. And if you go through this thread, it turns out that he's kind of identified with fairly high probability that money was actually taken from people that have gotten those funds illicitly. So it was basically a scammer or somebody out there using exploits in crypto and using the money that they've stolen to place these bets. So far as actually identifying the person that very likely, and again, this is likely, this is alleged, could be this person here. So it's kind of interesting to see that the super DGM plays. Now, the question is, and I saw another post about this, I don't want to spend too much time on this, that it might just be one of those mechanisms that they're using that, yeah, it's very DGM. They're trading multi-$100 million positions, but it's also a mechanism that they could essentially launder the money by putting these positions in and trading against it so they can wash the money over here and use that to push legitimate trades over here. So, we got to pay attention to this and realize that not every time you see a multi-$100 million position, it's not like, does somebody know something? I'm going to short with them, because it might not be what it seems. You got to trade on your strategy. Now, if you want to utilize on-chain data and you see massive whales stacking into a position, not one, but many, then that's something that's a little bit more legitimate than saying, oh, somebody on Hyperliquid has a better clue of what's going on than I do. It may be a bait and switch, so just pay attention to that. Now, yesterday we got the FOMC meeting, and I called out. I posted on my Twitter earlier in the day, watch for this movement. Boom, boom, boom. Down trap, up trap, down trap, and then find the direction from there. And we asked, which direction do we think it's going to be? And what do we see? We saw, look, down trap, up trap, down trap, up trap, down trap. And then ultimately the yellow line is when the FOMC meeting, the press conference, I should say, after the decision was made, which would have been somewhere over in this zone here. Nothing happened, right? But what we saw was this was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trap to the upside and downside, clearing liquidity both directions. Bias traders in both directions getting flushed out before ultimately we did get to move up, and that feels good. So it's nice to see that. Now, why did it resolve to the upside, and can that price action sustain and follow through to the upside from here? Have we bottomed? That's the question. We got Ninja Fourth here in the chat, says hola to you, hola to every one of you. Green Day Prophet says like, subscribe, notifications on, joined. Big love to you, my friend. Morning Fam says sufficient enough. Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm feeling good today, despite I feel like we all have some perpetual frustration with everything going on in the market right now. But in reality, it's all shaping up. Even though we didn't get some great overarching, positive, amazing new data from Trump's talking points today, we're getting further and further bricks put in the wall of this bullish base, this bullish structure moving forward in this market. Now, what happened yesterday? Great breakdown of Powell's take on the Fed plan, today's FOMC press conference. Bitcoin, crypto, markets feeling a smidge more bullish. We got to see if we have the follow through though, with the reduction of quantitative easing. They're cutting that by 80%. So from $25 billion roll off of their balance sheets, they're only, I think, doing $5 billion now. But Powell did make some also limiting phrases regarding the tariff inflation. Well, this is absolute nonsense, because this data from when these tariffs started being announced, one, the tariffs haven't been implemented yet. That happens April 2nd. So this is some bullshit, if you ask me. I think there's a little bit of political bias happening here, maybe because Trump was just I don't want to say putting a foot on the throat of what the Fed is doing, because he said the Fed will do rate cuts. And I think Jerome Powell's being a little bit egotistical here, trying to claim that this has something to do with tariffs, because we are seeing CPI come down, we are seeing PPI come down, and we all are seeing the markets have some pressure on them. But he is essentially also saying that things are coming in line. And there's a friend of mine from many moons ago. In fact, if you want to see who this friend is, he's very, very tied into crypto, but he and I know each other from many years back. This is us DJing at a Christmas party, like a Christmas event. And I don't mean like we're playing Christmas music. We're house music DJs, house and techno and stuff like that. This is us playing at an event back then, and me just doing the silly autistic tiger there. But a great friend of mine, and he knows a lot about markets. He's been in the market since 2016, 2017. But he pointed it out here. The current runoff rate of securities is reducing from 25 billion to 5 billion. The mortgage-backed securities runoff remains the same, 15 billion. Factors like the federal debt ceiling and Treasury general account, where there's a huge amount of money in there that they're basically using to stealth QE the market. Dynamics have raised concerns about liquidity, prompting these adjustments. My guess is that the Fed will continue to completely end QT by May FOMC, which we're going to have that next FOMC in May, saying they have ample reserves. This is bullish for markets, but still keeps a leash on them so that inflation does not ramp up. So I think this is one of the reasons why it's looking a little bit more bullish as to the forward. It's not immediately today, but markets price in forward speculation about what might happen so they can get best positioned. So we saw some positivity in the markets. We are seeing today, though, a little bit, I don't want to call it a flash crash, a bit of de-risking in the markets again, which is kind of bizarre after this information here. But there's a lot of conflicting signals out there in the broader markets. A lot of issues with what we're seeing, a worse position of debt to income ratios on the housing market for housing loans and debt. It's like double what we saw back preceding the housing crisis in 2008. But then let's go on. We got a couple more things to show here. I shared this in that short today. The blood moon that we had I think it was last Friday, the 14th. We had the blood moon, and I did a post about that. Would it be odd, because, the red moon, it would be odd if that full moon which tends to or very regularly has lined up, and I'm not saying it's because of, but it has lined up with a pretty high hit rate of positive price action in the markets. And I've outlined that on here before. I did a a post last week about will the blood moon coincidentally also mark the end of the bearish trend? And it's kind of looking like that currently, unless we get another leg down. Is this coincidence? Or is this just a playful prophecy? But multiple other data signals are aligning. So let's throw the moon thing out of this. Other data signals that may be more important are aligning with this price action, potentially setting up for a major move to the upside. So what is it? Is Bitcoin's next move loading? Up does look most likely, but I'm not counting out another washout to the downside before we get that up. This is what we're looking at. Global liquidity. Look at this. The breakout, reset, launch. This is also aligned with the price action coming down, a little bit of move up, and then absolute parabolic launch. Look at this. The breakout, we did not get the reset launch. We just got the breakout, and then at this zone right here, boom, we got the launch. So this is very similar to 2017. The breakout, reset, launch. Are we really setting up for the slingshot we've been waiting? It feels like we've been waiting so patiently. But I want you all to realize something. For those that have traded legacy markets in the past, especially people that have been in markets for 20, 30, 40 years, the fact that we're frustrated, we're waiting a year and a half for the big move that we're really wanting, legacy traders set up, take positions, and basically ride them through 5 years, 15 years, 20 years to see those max gains. So the fact that we even have the premise, the notion that this is, oh my God, we have to be so patient for a couple more months than expected, we are just being impatient imbeciles. Let's take advantage of this asset class, this technology that's only further getting implemented and adoption is only growing from here. We can be a little bit more patient and grateful that we have this opportunity of this small amount of time to stack at these levels. So coming back, what else is there? We got the business cycles that are also perfectly lining up with, look at this, the boom in the market, the business cycle boom. The boom in the business cycle, boom in the market. So we're not only seeing global liquidity, but we're also seeing the business cycles giving us that signal as well. This from Tech Dev. You should all go follow him. Let him know. Go comment on one of his posts. Say Kelly Kellum sent you from the BitLab. TechDev_52. He always puts out great charts. Then we got from Philip Swift. Can't help but be bullish on Bitcoin when the global liquidity is rising. Fed rates are steady, and we're expecting now future cuts. Leverage is wiped out. We can see on this chart right here, leverage wiped out. So you have less of an incentive for markets to get pushed in certain directions to cause those bull traps or bear traps to take that free liquidity in the markets. Here we got the Fed fund rates. We see that the Fed fund rates are targeting to come lower. What we see when look at this drop and boom. So we're seeing a lot of the same setups. The funding rates back to zero and actually flipping negative. This is where it flipped negative here. You see all this positive fund rates. Positive fund rates means a lot of people are going long on leverage. Okay, you want this to reset before you get to move. Is this kind of getting a little bit of that reset notion? And then we see the MVRV Z-score. The Z-score, this right here, is the measurement of the Bitcoin price, the aggregate Bitcoin price traded on the market. Like if you're going to go to Binance or Coinbase to buy Bitcoin, what's the price on the market? That's the black line. This line right here is the realized price. The average price of every coin in circulation the last time it moved. So you have some coins, millions of coins, that have been held for 10 plus years. So the last time they moved, the price was much lower. That's why you have this basically this moving average much lower than the price. And when price does fall below it, look at this, marking beautiful, almost perfect times to buy. The most simple way to identify in a bear market, is this a good time to buy? I don't know what other signal to look at. Look at the Bitcoin price falling below the realized price. Now, this Z-score is the separation mapped out of how far the Bitcoin price is away from this, moving up away. You see this right here moving up and away, and look at the orange line moving up. And we're sitting in an area right now that has not been attributed in any way with the market cycle top. If anything, again, we should be thankful. We should be more grateful that the price has not given us those explosive gains yet. But I will say, mark my words, it is coming. No retail euphoria yet, AKA we've had no real reason, no data-driven reason that suggests we have hit the top. So shout out to the 700 people that are tuned in right now. Make sure you are stacking based on your strategy, based on your risk tolerance, and also what you're expecting to get out of this market. Now is not the time to be selling unless you have life's costs, life's goods that you need to take care of. By all means, you have to determine that for yourself. But I very heavily believe we are set up in a more bullish structure than we ever have been, ever, based on the data that's present. That does not mean it has to move up today, tomorrow, or even this month, or within the next 3 months. In fact, if it takes that long, we're just spring loading what bullishness is to come. Now, moving on from this, we got some levels we need to watch out for here. Looking at this chart from Stock Money Lizards, we have this descending trend line and then this basically rising level of bull market support band right in here. This is bounced. We're kind of sitting in this zone. And this is, this is similar. This is similar to those levels that we're looking at right here. This descending level of resistance that we're kind of trying to tackle, but the more important one is up here in that basically $89,000 to $91,000 range. We're not there yet. This is looking good. If anything, what did we do? We broke out of this flat level of bounce, resistance, broke through it. And currently we're coming back right now to potentially confirm this to find support. But as it looks right now on the 2 hour, it's looking like it's having a little bit of trouble. We do have the stochastics fairly far down to the downside. The money flow, it has flipped positive, but it's kind of choppy and not really giving a signal. The RSI is angled to the downside, so we're going to want to watch this over between now and Sunday about what happens here. If this does drop back down below this and actually have, especially on the 4 hour candles, if this does start closing candles down in here, we may be looking at that move to come back down here into the $77,000 range. So we're taking this one brick at a time. We're ignoring our bias and saying, what is the data saying as this is moving forward? Why? Yeah, I see that. Line in my pocket. I don't want to read that out, but yes, why the F for sure. Hey, tariffs will destroy Canada. Hopefully Canada comes to their senses and joins as the 51st state. Well, that's all political stuff. We'll see what makes sense there for how that all plays out. But there's a lot of stuff going on economically right now that has more to do than just the tariffs. The tariffs are also a strategy, I think, to push uncertainty on the markets, to bring the markets down so that the Fed can be more substantiated and taking an active role in reducing those Fed fund rates. Because remember, we have $7 trillion in debt that we have to refinance or pay off. That's not going to happen. We have to refinance in the next 6 months. They can't do that at the current federal funds rates. So they're doing everything they can to actively put some stress on the markets. And between now and April 2nd, it's going to be very telling what the next 4 to 6 months are going to look like if that tariff war is still going on and they do get implemented, or if people start coming to the table as that date approaches to bring the tariffs more equitably in line. Does that make sense? It's not just like, hey, the US, we need to tariff these people because we're going to be tough on them. No, it's like, hey, you're tariffing the living shit out of the US. So cool, we're going to charge you the same amount you're charging us. Hey, this is silly on both sides. How about we just bring this down to something more reasonable, 15%, 20%, or 0%. Make it more free and fair trade. That's ultimately outside of this refinancing debt. That's the other sort of tact that Trump is using right now. Now, coming back over here, let's go. We got some other things. Massive bull wins are made in the deep red dips. Remember that. Every time you're scared, especially in a bull trend, realize other people are scared too. Some people sell out. They end up buying higher. Other people say, this might be a great setup for that next leg to the upside. Now, considering the structure and the scenarios surrounding and the sentiment surrounding Bitcoin and the crypto markets on the grander stage, not our stage, not retail stage, but I'm talking global finance, BlackRock, Fidelity, VanEck, Bitwise, 21 shares. Now Wisdom Tree is getting into the fold. We see Morgan Stanley, Morgan Stanley also partnering with things like BlackRock and ONDO and what they're doing there. But MasterCard, we're seeing the integration of blockchain and crypto and stablecoin technology and all these things to essentially replace, upgrade the global finance system. And people are worried. This ball is only getting started right now. The talking points that are coming out of the White House, the talking points that are coming out of the SEC. Now, the fact that we have a digital assets director, Bo Hines, we've got a crypto czar, crypto and AI czar, and David Sachs, who is who was an active technology investor and venture capitalist, looking at this in such empowering, positive light now, versus the absolute foot on the throat of the industry 6 months ago. This is a dynamic and seismic shift in the crypto ecosystem, and there's going to be some choppiness, especially as this new administration gets things underway. So we should be taking advantage of these opportunities when they present, and that's why this chart is so impressive. This is from a friend of mine. You all know him. I've had him on the channel, Quentin Francois. Crypto sentiment is at an all-time low. This is measuring people that don't know what the fuck to do with their money in these markets. Retail, we trade emotionally because we're so scared and we want to make money, but we don't know when to do it. Shout out Richard Berry. I see you in here, baby. But this is it. When the sentiment is super low, that tends to be when the majority of the people make the stupidest decisions. So when we look at this and we realize when we get down into these deep reds, look at this. And now this was on a short-term scale, this was a great opportunity to buy for this rip. Great opportunity to buy for this rip. Now, when you get to the end, especially on a time basis of the bear market, when you're getting into this end zone, these were the spots to buy. Not even looking at price action. I'm specifically looking at the sentiment, the fear and greed index. When you're looking at the sentiment being so crushed, it tends to be a great time to buy. Now, right here, think about this. I guarantee you some people bought here, and when the market dropped, they sold because, oh my God, it went further low. No, in this type of time frame on where we're at in the market cycle, especially compared to the 4-year cycle leading up to this point, was 20,000, this 20,000-ish level a bad spot to buy? 18,000. Okay, it dropped to 15,500, 16,000. But here I would have added. And these are the areas I was adding in over right in here. Adding there. And if it drops, then you lower your average entry and then you'd be able to take advantage of all of this. I mean, look at this. Sell off. I'm scared. Everybody's scared. Hey, smart money's buying. Everybody scared. Smart money buying. This was the pre-launch sort of metric. Now look at where we're at right now. We're in that red again, giving opportunity for those that see it. Bill Brower says, don't be dumb money. That is right. Smash that like, everybody, says War Dogs. Representing Augusta, Georgia, Richard Berry. You guys check him out. He puts out great content. Joins a lot of the Twitter spaces and stuff I've been on as well. Always got great takes. Also does comedy. Smart guy there. I always like seeing him around. Now, continuing on, what else we got? I'm locked and loaded, I said, right here. Bitcoin is the asset of the future, and we have the opportunity to change our future with our actions today. That's what this is all about. So are you buying? Are you selling? That's what you got to ask yourself. What do you want to do? What do you need to do? It might take some enduring patience in these times, but it's okay. Stack crypto. The future is built, traded, and stored in the blockchain. Ivan said this was the most bullish FOMC possible. QT is over in a few months. Fed is afraid of a recession. Interest rates coming down in a few months. And Trump is announcing something. Well, he's just resubstantiating. We got what he's announcing. But what else we got here? Shout out to Ivan on Tech. Always great content. I've learned a lot from him over the years as well. And I think I shared this yesterday. I can't remember. Great observation and the chart from Matthew Hyland. The alt season is still coming. It's not the same shape as previous cycles. Niche focused, I expect. This is what I said. But those who have been stacking, hodling, the chop will be handsomely rewarded soon. What does he outline here? The last 3 times the term market crash spiked above 50 on Google Trends was March 20th, June 2022, and August 2024. All 3 times were major bottoms for total 2, aka the altcoins, and aka markets blasted off from there. It's currently spiking above 50. So when it spiked above 50, and the last 3 times it did it, it marked bottoms for altcoins. It's currently spiking above 50 right now. So we look at the total 2. Where are we going to see this blasting off up here in a second? The meme constable says, that's right. Don't be dumb money. Be like me. I'm R-worded money. That's funny. Shout out to the meme constable. I see you in here, veteran crypto, quarter crawler, Lemonizer, Ugin Sky. My question to every one of you right now, we're going to get in and do some TA on some altcoins. But my question to every one of you right now is, when you scroll down, does yours say subscribed? Hit that subscribe button and this little arrow, turn on your notifications. And if you'd like, join us here on, become a member here on the BitLab YouTube. Once you hit subscribed, it will say join. Hit that join button. It's like $1.25 a week. We do basically members content on here for altcoins and TA and market updates and stuff like that. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon. But join us here. Show some love. You get that badge next to your name. And the longer you're a member, you see how this is a blue and it's fold up. He's been a member for quite some time. This is yellow. He's been, and it's kind of full. He's been a member for some time. You see some other ones. See if I got some empty ones. There's different badges you get that upgrade, I think, every 3 months. So shout out to everybody. I brought the TA, says Julie Kennis. Shout out to everybody. I'm seeing some newer names in here as well. Sally Stacks, how you doing? Well, I appreciate you, Sally Stacks. Says, I just checked out the other crypto TA people streaming at the same time, and this show is objectively the best. Big love to you. I appreciate you guys. Sometimes you guys got to realize, you guys might get frustrated. Sometimes the market's not moving exactly where you want for your portfolio. But we're looking at that, and also what's going on with engagement on these streams, because that affects our back end, what we can do, and what the different types of strategic partnerships we can do. And so when you guys hit the like button, when you open this up and you watch for, I think the average watch time, because people tune in and they click right off. Other people watch the whole stream. But when you have the stream open, if you engage, if you subscribe, share this, it really is the number one thing you can do to support these types of streams. So big love to each and every one of you. We got a couple more charts to go over, and we got some TA to look at. Check it out. Big news for ONDO. CoinMarketCap added the buy button for Binance, because they're, CoinMarketCap is owned by Binance. For ONDO, Binance owns CoinMarketCap, so it looks like they're maybe prepping to announce an ONDO listing soon. So we've been stacking into ONDO here. How many of you times have been stacking into ONDO? I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to be one of the better performers this cycle. Let's see how it goes. But then we also got the first ETF on Solana is launching today. Now, what does that mean? Is it super bullish? What does it mean? To understand what this means, it's not like the Bitcoin spot ETFs. It is more of a setup for spot ETFs to come. This is basically launched tomorrow. Important to understand that this is a futures ETF, not a spot ETF. So this likely is a setup, much like we had the futures ETFs for Bitcoin for some time before we had the spot ETF, similar with Ethereum. Now we have the futures ETFs for Solana, starting down that path, different financial mechanisms before they get that spot ETF for just the, basically general retail public. Now, retail can do futures as well. It's just more people would be actively involved in a spot ETF than futures. So this is just interesting. Now, what else we got? We don't need to look at this. Let's look at some TA. I want to see what coins you guys are hopeful, are excited about this cycle. Get active in the live chat. If you're watching on YouTube, drop it in the live chat. If you're watching on Twitter, drop it in the live chat. Yes, you can live chat. All you have to do is come over here. By the way, everybody, make sure you're following me here. We're up to 39.2 thousand. Wonder if we can hit 50,000 by the summer. Let's get that active. But right here, if you open this up, let me mute myself there. In this live chat, you can chat here. I see you, Kaiser. But I also see it up here on I have a whole chat thing that sees both YouTube and X, but get active in here. Show some love. Retweet this. Where are we at right now on retweets? Only 8. If we can get this up to 25 today, before the end of the stream, I will do a giveaway on the stream. So we will randomly draw from those that hit that retweet button right there. Now let's get into the TA on what we're seeing. See, Bitcoin's starting to look a little bit weak. This is on the 4 hour. Let's get down to the 1 hour. Got a bit of a bull flag-ish here, but it's an ugly bull flag. What am I talking about? Kind of like this. So if we lose this zone, which is all of this area, all this choppy, if we lose this, because look at all this bearishness on the basically dashboard, quick look for where the signals are positioned. If we lose this, then we're likely coming back down 82.6, which is these lows right in here. And if we lose that, then I think we'll likely be kind of testing back here to 80 and maybe kind of evaporation of this bullish sentiment for the short period of time, maybe through this weekend. I would love that. If you understand how these markets trade, you get more encouraged to understand when to feel good about bullishness, when to feel bad about bullishness. I would love to see this sell off over the weekend, because that means that then we'd have a CME futures gap above us, a liquidity magnet for us to come back up to that level, versus us just pushing up now through tomorrow and then having a sell off after, basically early next week, because we have a CME futures gap below us. So this is kind of what we're looking at, but let's look at some altcoins. We've talked a lot about Bitcoin lately. We want to know what's going on with altcoins. So let's look at Solana. Bullishness regarding that CME futures ETF, but it's not really doing much for what's going on here, especially if there's very low activity on that. It's going to kind of give a bit of a bullish nudge in the market. William Ramsey says ADA, XLM, and Link. Who else we got? We got AERO Lab. I don't know what that is. Then we got Wispy, also Cardano. Near Protocol, says Bill Brower. Dog, says Woof Woof, says Fabius Maximus. So shout out to everybody chiming in, getting engaged. But Solana, let's just remember, this is done like a 36x from down here at the market lows, okay? 36x. This is not the worst thing in the world to come back and test into this bar that we've been talking about for quite some time. It came back in. The scary thing is it's kind of looking like a bear flag, which could suggest that we are coming down into this zone, down in the 87, 92 level. I'd be a little hesitant. I wouldn't just put a buy order down here and just be waiting on it, because $100 is a pretty round number. I wouldn't be surprised if this does lose this to come down and find support right in this 101 to 102 level. But there are, even despite this analysis that I just did, there are bullish winds kind of ticking up. I'm feeling them and the positivity in the market and, some of the things we're seeing. So I wouldn't count this out as just, it's going to fail. I'd be watching this like a hawk, because we do have bullish divergences coming into this. We got a little bit of a move, but I wouldn't consider that the move out of this bullish divergence. We have the money flow that's rounding out above back to positive. I'd be watching for this to kind of play out within this symmetrical triangle. Now, it is a bit of a bear flag, bear pennant, but it's also, there's a lot of choppiness here with all of this. It's not just a move down with the symmetrical triangle. I would put this like this. Measure this out. You measure the width here, and you do that, and then we do copy paste. You have two different targets you can do out of this. From the upward, look at that. The upward target will go right into this descending level of resistance we have above us. The downward target, which is leaning that direction of more probable, because the price action came into the symmetrical triangle with, a downward trend into it. This is suggesting we could have a move. Yeah, look at this. It's kind of, what did I just say a second ago? Shortcut, have some buying pressure coming into this $100 level. The target is right here, about 106. So we'd have a little box right in here. I would be a little bit patient on this. There's, I think, a little bit of FUD around it because of the news article that came out, but I wouldn't put too much attention on that. I think Solana is still going to perform incredibly well this cycle, especially because it already pushed up to 295, and we've got about a 62%. Right now it's at 55, but it broke down into, look at that, 61.8% drop already. That's a 61.8% discount on the price. If you're bullish up at this price, you should be jumping for joy to have the opportunity to stack in at this price. XRP got the close of the case. Somebody said, why didn't it pump like before? Because it's done that a number of times. It's had the big moves right here. This is June 2023 with that first They may be closing the SEC. Boom, pop up, came right back down to the median, basically support trend line that we had here. Broke down, had the confirmed move to the downside that did not facilitate. And we had this moonshot with the change in administrations and everything going on here. And now it's just kind of been holding in this zone. The question is going to be, with everything going on with the integrations with Swift and the banking payments and basically potentially using XRP or not, there's still questions around all that with confusing or kind of not clear what they mean with crypto stockpile. Is it going to be something that they'll stack into? Are they going to sell that off and put that into Bitcoin? There's a little bit of excitement, but also lack of clarity there. And there's not any real new liquidity coming into the markets. So as it stands, we're just seeing kind of sideways price action through here. So all the way back here in February to where we're at now with chopping down, deviation up, deviation back down. It's really just, look at this, right through the middle. The price is essentially unchanged. This gets exciting, then it fails. This gets scary, then it fails. So we're literally right here at the same price level that we've been all the way since back here in December 2024. Because there's no new narratives. All the hope, we had $100 billion increase in the market cap from this pump that happened here. And there's no new liquidity in the markets as it stands. So yes, it's bullish that this did break out bullishly out of this falling channel, but we've seen this before. Came up, came right back down inside. We want to watch this here. If this does fall back down inside, I'd be watching somewhere in this region. But we do have bullish on the 2 hour. Positive money flow, but it came back negative. But it's just looking choppy in the zone. I'd be kind of having my mind's eye on that and not jumping at it. Cardano, big upgrades coming to this, and it's still sitting at 72 cents. If this fails, I'd be watching a good opportunity here at the 62 cent level. If this does get rejected and really starts to kind of the flippening, like if the market has a big pullback over the weekend or into next week, I'd be watching for basically the 68 cents and then down here at 62 cents. But I don't know if it's bias or what. Everything I'm looking at, I feel like everything happening right now is just really exhausting people, which is a bullish thing. But there's no telling how long that exhaustion is going to take, especially with what's coming on April 2nd. If tariffs don't start to get curtailed or slowed down, etc., in the as it comes to that terminal date of those going live, maybe some happen by April 2nd. Maybe it takes all the way into June. But remember, the bullish, I'm talking looking in the next many years, the structures are incredibly bullish. It doesn't mean we can't have some frustrating times between now and then. We may have just frustrating times all the way until August or September and then get massive bullish winds coming in. Because remember, we still have the Cynthia Loomis bill that will need to be voted on at some point. It's still, that million Bitcoin buy. I think they're doing their job. They're doing their best with all these digital asset summits and the blockchain summit and all that at the White House and the Digital Asset Council. And we need to get as many senators and people in the House on board to vote positively to pass the Bitcoin Act, Cynthia Loomis's Bitcoin Act. Because if we do get that buying pressure coming in, strategic Bitcoin reserve, the million Bitcoin, then that will open some massive doors. And then we got ONDO just in this downward falling channel, kind of forming a base here. If this does fall, I'd be watching down here at about 74 cents, and I'd be a buyer here. I'd be a buyer here. But, if I'm looking to wait a little bit, I'd be a buyer down here at 77 cents and 74 cents at this lower level of support band. This support trend line that comes right down in here. You could even do one a bit deeper, but I like it where it touches the most candles, as you can see, touch. But yeah, guys, stochastics are getting quite low. This is very bearish, but this is getting quite low. RSI's angled down. I think we might have a little bit of a sell-off this weekend. So let's be prepared for that. Aerodrome also forming a bit of a base. See this? Lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, and then now it's just flat right in here. Same thing with Moonwell. Look at this, broke out like XRP, but kind of sitting a bit. It's kind of just holding on. If this drops, I'd be looking for down here at about 1.9 cents, 2 cent sort of level right in here. option J. We can see that. If this does have, a bullish impulse and this pushes up, I'll be watching for some trouble right here about 2.5, 2.6 cents. I don't expect this just to slice through unless there's this small market cap, unless there's a big news integration or, something of that sort, something especially with the smaller market cap. Everything else might have some trouble, and this could just slice right through. But you can't count on those and just hope for those big news stories because you don't know when they're going to happen. Near protocol, I saw a couple of people call that out. Now we got the lows, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low. But this is, look, I mean, we're not really bullish until we can push up into this basically 2.93. If this goes straight across, about 2.74. But if this does break up into this zone, basically about 2.9, 2.93, $2.93, then we want to watch for, we don't want to just watch this slice out. We want to see on the breakout, where does it reverse and come back? Do the bulls come back in and defend an area to come back up? And you take the trade right about right there. Unless you have a longer term position that you're not worried about the chop in the next 2-3 weeks. Then you can add here. If it drops, you can add again. If it drops, you can add again. But that's all determined on your strategy if you have the conviction for the chop that can happen in the interim. We also see Tensor, BitTensor Tau, kind of forming a bit of that base, kind of similar to Solana, where you're kind of having this sort of symmetrical triangle sort of formation right in here. If this does move up, I'll be watching for some trouble ahead. It's crazy how this is how I had drawn that. Some trouble ahead right here about the 298, $300 level, just because previous range lows, see, it's kind of this sort of range right in here where this bounces, this bounces, this bounces, this rejects. But I think we're getting into the final stages of the stacking zones that are going to make us so excited. And those of you that have been stacking and being patient and, a little frustrated, but that's how you earn your battle scars. Injective also, I'm very bullish on this. This looks like it's accelerating to the downside. If this does have another move to the downside, let's go to the 12-hour, then we very well could see another move down here. 565, 560 sort of zone. Cause you see this is accelerating, but we're trying to see bullish divergences that just aren't playing out. That's the 12-hour. What does it look like on the 6-hour? Yeah, still negative money flow. We're getting smaller momentum, but it's no clear bull signal yet. If this stuff's to fall, I'd be watching at 878, and the next one would be down here at the, the low 7s into the mid 6s. But guys, we're here today. We're here every day. We do this together. You're going to be so proud of yourself in the coming weeks, in the coming months when the market does have that reversal. You've been stacking, you've been patient. Maybe you're waiting. Maybe you're not stacking or patient. Maybe you're waiting for a little bit of a bullish confirmation of a move up. You don't buy that move up. You buy the small reversal back down and basically the confirmed move where you're forming that higher low and so on and so forth. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'm sending you over to the blockchain basement now. Let's go drop some BitLab love. I'd love to see how many, let's see how many people, if you stay on this channel right now, I'm going to end it. It will automatically redirect you there. Or if you know the blockchain basement link, you can just go there right now. Drop some BitLab love. The BitLab fams here. We love the basement, or BitLab loves the basement. How about that? Everybody go say BitLab loves the basement. Drop it there in the live chat there. Let's see how many people we could say blasting some love there in the in the blockchain basement live comments. But that's all I got for you today, everybody. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll see you at tomorrow's stream. Remember stream later today? I don't know. Are you a member? Let's see. Let's get it. BitLab loves the basement. Go drop that in the live chat there. Adios, everybody.